welcome to the regular meeting of the Villa Park City Council. I hereby call the meeting to order. Steve, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilwoman Fasenelli,
Present.
Councilman Pitts,
Here.
Councilman Rossini,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott,
Here.
Mayor Nelson,
Here.
all present.
Okay, tonight I'd like to continue a tradition of having the Villa Park distinguished citizen lead us in the pledge. I believe the city has a number of distinguished citizens. I'd like to highlight these to the city. Tonight we have Pete Moriarty, a retired lieutenant colonel of artillery in the U.S. Army, where he served in the 1st Cavalry Division in Vietnam, the 32nd Air Defense Command in Germany, and Director Command Control and Systems Integration at Fort Bliss, Texas, and at the U.S. Mission Headquarters, NATO in Brussels, Belgium. He's recipient of the Legion of Merit, Meritorious Service Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, the Bronze Star Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, Air Medal with 2 clusters, and numerous other honors, medals, and awards. He's also a retired program manager for Hughes Electronic Corporation, where some of his tasks included engineering design for Air Force Defense and Air Traffic Control System. Pete graduated from Louisiana State University with a bachelor's degree in economics and from Florida State University with a master's degree in history. Some of Pete's civic service includes being a member of the Board of Trustees of the Rapid Symphony Orchestra in Alexandria, Louisiana, and currently serves as a member of the Villa Park Rotary Club. Pete was born in Alexandria, Louisiana, and currently lives in Villa Park. He's a member of St. Norbert's Catholic Church in Orange and married to the former Deanna Mary Blackburn. Today, I will ask Vietnam veteran Pete Moriarty to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If I may be allowed to preface this with a few remarks.
Sure.
I followed this flag as a combat veteran across the plains, through the swamps, and into the jungle fastness of South Vietnam. I never take this pledge, but that I recall the comrades in arms who have taken it with me and before me. We went out to do our duty, all of us, in the full bloom of youth, joyously, only to have so many cut down by the scythe of battle. As we take this pledge tonight, I ask that you recall the fallen in all our wars, and also remember those who stand guard this night, that we might have this place of peace and security and freedom. And with that, will you join me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pete, I do have a pen for you here, too. It's a Villa Park pen. We have some that's going to say Villa Park Distinguished Citizen that's on order. And so as we get those, I'll update. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Kim, do you want to? Kim, do you want a picture?
Pete, can you come up so we can get a photo? There we go. Thanks.
Next, we have a presentation for the Woman of the Year recipient, Catherine Sorensen. Come up, Catherine. Catherine, the City of Villa Park honors Catherine Sorensen as recipient of Woman of the Year Award, the prestigious Cypress College Americana Award. Catherine has years of personal success in sales and real estate career. Even more impressive is her lifelong commitment to community service and empowering the less fortunate youth in Orange County. Mayor Pro Tem Colacott and I are proud to present you with this proclamation recognizing your charitable work.
Thank you very much. over a couple weeks ago. Son and dad, right? Sticky off.
Sticky out, yeah, we don't like the sticky out.
I like technical.
Big
writing.
smiles. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Donald. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Pleasure making your friendship.
We still have to go to the coffee.
Yeah, we do. Thank you very much. Thank you. I must tell you, these kind of awards make me realize how much harder I have to work. And I'm spreading my parents' legacy, the Kleins from City of Anaheim Builders. My father built Meredith homes over here, so I've been in the Orange Groves for a while myself. So I'm doing work as the community brings it to me for the children that need all of our help. So thank you very much for bringing this home to me. I'm very touched. Thank you.
I had the opportunity to represent the city at the award ceremony at the Disneyland Hotel Grand Ballroom, where Catherine was presented with her Woman of the Year award by the Cypress College Foundation. It's quite a prestigious award. There were probably 500 people there. It was a black tie event. And there were a number of awards given out, but the #1 award was for Woman of the Year, and that was Catherine's. And I was really pleased to be there with a Villa Park resident. We have quite a number of distinguished people that live here in Villa Park, like Pete over there. And it was a real pleasure, a real privilege to be there with Catherine. So congratulations again, Catherine.
Very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have presentations. Coming up first is the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
Good evening, members of the council. Thank you for having me. I have the crime statistics for the city of Villa Park for the month of February. Crime actually was very low for the month, which is a good thing. There were only 3 grand thefts and 2 petty thefts, and 4 of the 5 of those were all done from unlocked vehicles. So I can't stress enough that the vehicles need to be locked, and if they were, we'd have only 1 crime, and that was from the construction area. Along with that, there were 9 traffic accidents, which is a little bit higher than normal. We attribute that to I think there was some rainy times at the beginning of the month, and that's probably where some of that was brought into. There were 33 traffic citations and only 3 parking citations for the month.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank all of you. Recently, you all responded to an alarm at my house. Both my wife and I she was out of town and I was at work, and the alarm went off. I came home. The officer was waiting for me in the street to make sure that everything was okay. He did check the house, followed protocol, and did everything he was supposed to do. And I just want to tell you, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome, sir. Thank you.
Not sure what set off the alarm, except the door opening up, but I don't know who did that.
Okay, the Orange County Fire Authority.
Good evening, Mayor Nelson, City Council, City staff. Jeff Hoey here with the Lieutenant Chief of Orange County Fire Authority, and just 2 things before you this evening. First, for emergency calls for the city, we had 42 calls last month. 28 were medical service calls, and there were a number of other just basic surface calls. No fires last month. And just lastly, I'd like to address cooking fires. It's one of the things that we're trying to get the message out. Most cooking fires, or at least cooking fires, are the leading cause of fire injuries and fatalities in the county. And so we just encourage all the residents of Villa Park to not leave your cooking unattended. And if you'd like more information, to go to our website at ocfa.org. So thank you.
Any questions for Fire Authority? Thank you very much.
All right.
Next, we have council members' committee reports. And I'll start out with the Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control Board. The Board of Trustees established a standing legislative committee to review, follow, and track legislation throughout the course of their legislative session that may impact the district. And also, they announced that Jared Deaver, the district's Director of Communication, submitted his official resignation. His final day will be March the 30th, and Jared accepted a position as District Manager of the San Gabriel Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District. So it's a big step up for Jared. He's a great guy. And I was also elected Chair of the district's Budget and Finance Committee. That's my report for the Mosquito District.
I'd like to make a comment on the vector control. In case any of the residents find that they have any fire ants in their yard, which I did, I had a couple mounds, which I routinely kind of cut down myself. Finally, I did make an email to Vector Control on their website, and I told them exactly what I had. I made that email request Thursday late afternoon, and I had a phone call on Monday, and they were out on Tuesday to put granules out. So in case anyone does see a fire ant mound, don't do what I did and break it off, but call them. They will be out as soon as they can. They'll put the granules in there, and the response time was very good. So just thought I'd make sure that everyone knew that.
Great. Next is
Sanitation District.
Orange County Sanitation District.
Okay, I attended the Operations Committee meeting of the Sanitation District on March 1st, and also the board meeting on March 22nd. At both meetings, probably the key item was the recommended approval of a grant application for construction of a food waste transfer facility at the treatment plant number 1 in Fountain Valley. What this is it's a facility that where our solid waste company will separately pick up food waste, like from restaurants, and then they'll deliver their collected food waste to the sanitation district rather than taking it to the landfill. And the sand district will take that food waste and put it in their digester and generate methane gas, which they'll use to generate electricity with, power with. So anyway, they approved the grant application, and we're hopeful we'll get that, and we'll more cost-effectively and environmentally beneficially dispose of our food waste.
Okay.
Also, one other item is on March 8th, I met with the Orange County Sanitation District's operations staff to discuss sanitary sewer management plans, and they gave me some good guidance. And after that, Ed Torres, the Director of Operations, provided me with a comprehensive tour of Treatment Plant 1. We actually got to go in the basements and got to see everything. So anyway, appreciate that opportunity to better understand their operations.
Okay. Next is the Fire Authority. I attended the Fire Authority board meeting last week, and the major item on the agenda was the fiscal year 2015-16 backfill overtime and calendar year 2016 total earnings compensation analysis. And what the analysis shows, there was 27.63% more effective to use overtime for filling vacancies compared to hiring regular full-time employees. And that's primarily because it doesn't get the retirement burden, and the overtime is less than the retirement burden. So therefore, it's more efficient to do that. With that, board approved 2 actions. Directed staff to continue pursuing reductions in overtime by filling permanent vacancies as quickly as possible after the position becomes vacant, and direct staff to continue using overtime to fill temporary vacancies rather than hiring additional personnel. Recognize this is a cost-effective practice for temporary needs. That completes my report. Library Advisory Board.
This is the only board actually that I chair, and it's a board that only meets maybe twice a year, so there's no report here. I don't even know when they meet. But we might want to remove it from our monthly agenda in the future, something to consider. Thank you.
Okay, Budget and Finance has no report either, no meeting. Community Development and Public Safety.
Yes, I chaired the Community Development Public Safety Committee meeting on March 6th. At the meeting, we discussed code enforcement matters, some of which we'll be discussing in our agenda today. And we also discussed coordination with the Vector Control District on one of those items. We also directed staff to develop a list of zoning anomalies for consideration at our April meeting, and our next meeting is scheduled for 5 o'clock on Monday, April 10th.
Okay. Human Resources.
There is no meeting. We did not meet.
City Schools Advisory.
Deanna and I had the opportunity to attend the last board meeting and chaired by the City of Orange mayor. We received an update on Measure S progress with the schools, the 4 high schools. You know, it was interesting to me to find out that they had 3 priorities in their approach to the schools. First priority is to create good science labs for our students. Second, to remove portables where possible, and also realizing school safety is their number 1 priority, also taking that into account in their building and retrofit process. The challenge they have today is that most of the classrooms are designed for 30 kids, and they really have upwards of 40 kids per class. Some of the classes don't have water, some of them don't have electricity, and it's amazing what those teachers are able to do with the resources that they have to get the accolades that they get for the students and so forth. Based on where they are right now, architects are working on phase 1 and their designs are due by the next board meeting. From there, they'll solicit design bills from 4 GCs and 4 architects. They do not have a construction schedule yet, so I assume that we need to stay tuned for more on what's going on with that particular effort. We also talked about the Villa Park Elementary School, the building that's having issues and problems. The old school building is scheduled to be demolished this summer. The district has spoken to us and is going to work with us very closely to determine what to do with all the memorabilia, along with the bell that exists there. Try to do something that's a real tribute to the school and also to the people that attended. Deanna suggested a possible competition to determine how to best honor the bell. Where to put it. You know, there were some suggestions about putting it on the school grounds and other suggestions about somewhere out here in front of City Hall and that type of thing. So she suggested, and something we ought to consider with the school district, a little competition, so we get all of our residents involved, get everybody's opinion, because we really want to create an environment that is conducive for people who have been to the school in the past to come and you know, see the memorabilia and also take part in celebration of what went on at that school. So we're also hosting the next city schools meeting here in Villa Park in April.
Couple items. First of all, Steve, I just got a note that the broadcast is not going out for whatever reason, so if we could let our tech know. With regard to the bell, I think there are 2 other bells. There's one right behind our city hall. I'm not sure which school or which era school that was associated with.
That's not from us.
That's not from us?
That's not from us at all. That was a private bell that was in the backyard of a resident, and when they passed, their son donated it to us, and that's why we stuck it back there.
Okay, yeah, we were wondering what that was. And there's also another melted bell that's in the city manager's office. We were wondering if that one might be from the 1920 fire.
Yeah. The original bell is still over at Villa Park Elementary, and
That's the one from the Mountain View School?
from the Mountain View School.
Okay.
And it's still there. And what we're working with, we're going to try and work on a collaboration between the city, the residents, and OUSD. When it does come time, it's going to be quite some time since the school has been designated a historical site. So there's a lot of hurdles to go through to remove that building. So we'll figure out what the best use of the bell is. We're going to make our suggestions to OUSD, and it's certainly up to them what they're going to do with it, but they certainly are willing to work with us. And hopefully we can involve the community and come up with some sort of a contest for an idea of how they would like us to present it, and we'll take it to Orange Unified School District and see what they can give for us. You know, and try to add a little happiness to the building going down.
And
There's
some
some of
fun,
us who
too.
don't want to see it go down.
And some fun, too.
Yeah, and some fun too.
That's it, Bill.
Complete your report. Okay. Law Enforcement Advisory Committee.
Law Enforcement Advisory Committee did not meet. We will be next meeting, April 3rd. I would encourage everyone to be there. It's important in this day and age that we reach out to our neighbors and our friends and make them a part of the solution. We have the law enforcement world, as we're hearing in the media, extremely stretched resources, and it's important that we band together as neighbors, as friends, as neighborhood watch groups, make sure that we're getting to know what's going on in our community and stay in touch with our neighbors. If you see something suspicious, please report it. Look forward to seeing you on the 3rd.
Vince, question. Can you give us an update on what's going on with the CERT program? Elizabeth and I both are, we're one of the original members in the certification process of CERT, but I haven't seen any updates or anything recently. Is there something you can help me with?
Oh, well, I would, number one, love to invite Elizabeth. You can certainly attend, just don't comment, of course, to our next meeting. And I think they're in the process of taking an inventory of what equipment is out there, who wants to be involved in the process, and then trying to get our members recertified. The difficulty is we've been trying to work with the Orange County Sheriff's Department, the Orange County Fire Authority, and even looking at our partners in FEMA and trying to get our folks back certified and in the process again, because it really is a valuable asset to this community if we can get it up and running again. Unfortunately, these things happen, but we're doing our best to try and get it back in order.
Okay.
So please come. You'll find out more.
I'll help. The other reason I brought it up is because in the foundation board meeting, they were talking about redoing their inventory of all the things that they have under their preview, and they were talking about 100 radios. And I thought most all of those were dispersed to the CERT members, but we need to work together and figure that out, where they are and who has them and that type of thing, to help them.
I believe that is in the process, and we've gotten several back, and we're just trying to take stock of who's interested in continuing and try to get a few more folks in the process and hopefully get everybody recertified again.
Good, thank you.
Investment Advisory Committee did not have a meeting. They only meet quarterly. So next we'll have the Villa Park Community Services Foundation.
Yes, we met recently, and one of the things that they're looking for are additional candidates to join the board. They're seeking 2 to 4 people, so if there are interested parties out here in the audience or out in their city, we'd love to have you join the board. They've identified 2 possible candidates to help with the Halloween Fest in October, which we all know is fun and we look forward to. Villa Park Rotarian John Valentine, that chairs a community services group for Rotary, attended a meeting to offer to do joint projects with the foundation here in Villa Park that's focused on Villa Park. Typically, they do work all over the world, as you know. It's an international organization, but John's focus was to do things with the foundation here in Villa Park. So there was discussion about possibly matching the 2 grants that were offered to the Villa Park Little League and to the high school instrumentation group. The foundation is granting $2,000 to the Villa Park High School instrumentation group and $1,000 to the Villa Park Little League. Also, there's currently a membership drive underway, and we look forward to growing the membership this year. Thank you, Steve, for being there, and also to you too, Mayor Nelson, for attending the meeting. That's it.
Okay. Friends of Villa Park Library.
No report.
Okay. All right. We will move on to public comment then.
Excuse me, Mayor, I
Yeah.
just got another note from a resident that it's not up.
It's up at my house.
It is?
At Channel 3.
Okay,
Channel 3 Time Warner, or
Okay.
Spectrum, or whatever they're called now, but it's up.
okay.
I verified it.
I'll find out what, maybe they're on the YouTube or something.
Yeah.
Okay. At this time, members of the public may address the council on any off-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council, provided no action may be taken on off-agenda items unless authorized by law. Comments are limited to 5 minutes per person and 30 minutes for all comments. Do we have any public comment? I don't have any public comment cards. There's some in the back. If you want to make a public comment, you can fill out a card and bring it up. Seeing no public comment, we will move on to our first public hearing. Is a review of the way the readings of in full of all ordinances and resolutions on the agenda. Do we have any questions regarding this? Is anyone here to speak on this? If not, is there any discussion among the council?
Not for me.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion? Oh, moved, okay, second?
Second.
Moved in second. So please vote now, and Steve can read the results.
We're operating a new system, so you'll bear with us for a second
Yeah.
as we kind of work through this. So if you'd vote, A is yes, B is no.
Technology is cool.
We have,
Now?
Try now.
Good to go.
Do it again?
Or do it again. Yours is not on.
Do it again?
hit the orange button on the top to make sure those are open.
Orange, oh, you got to turn it on.
First
What a
time.
unique
It's
thing.
our first time. We're trying new stuff.
For the benefit of the public out there who doesn't know what we're doing, we are having electronic voting for the first time. So I know that the people here can see us, but so they know why we haven't voted. So we have little clickers here that when we are going to go vote, we're going to say A for yes, B for no, and we're going to work all the bugs out on this short meeting this evening. So at least everyone at home knows what we're doing.
Do you have a vote, Kim?
Still no vote?
Still no vote?
Trying again.
Mine is, I know mine's on now because it says power.
Okay, we try it again.
My power is on.
Okay.
Is this how it worked at Vector Control too, Bill? When we did it at Vector, did it work like this too?
No, it wasn't vector control.
Capital
That. It
registering,
was the
Fire
Orange
authority?
County Fire Authority. Theirs didn't work the first time.
Your distance too much, or?
Okay, the computers may not be as strong as it's supposed to be.
We good?
Is it wireless?
Yes.
Wireless?
Try one more time. Thank you.
Plan B.
I think we'll work on through the bugs. Why don't we just
Plan B.
point?
Yeah,
B.
Plan B.
Yeah,
B works.
we can work the bugs out for next time. We'll go with the old-fashioned method this time. How's that? So please call the roll.
Let's see. Who made the vote, the motion?
I made the motion.
And the second was, okay. So Councilwoman Fasenelli,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes.
Let's see, then I've got Councilman Rossini,
Yes.
Councilman Pitts.
Yes.
We have 5-0.
Okay, motion carries. Our next one is regarding, next hearing the consideration of resolution number 2017-3382, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Villa Park declaring its intent to conduct a public hearing regarding conditions present at 9411 Hazel Circle, Villa Park, California, to determine whether such conditions constitute a nuisance. We have staff report, please.
At this point, I was going to recommend that we delete this item. We have seen significant progress. The pool is being drained at this point, so the criteria we'd asked that measures be taken have been taken or are being taken at this point. We've been able to follow up with staff, and I personally went out myself this afternoon and saw that there was progress being made. So we would recommend that this item be deleted. Although you may want to listen to, if there are any public speakers, we certainly would want to respect them and have them have the opportunity to speak.
Okay. We'll give an opportunity for public. If anyone from the public want to speak on this matter before we delete it.
It's not just the pool,
Please come up to the podium, please.
it's not just the pool, there's also several parts around the house drainage, as well as the spa that needs to be addressed. There are significant amounts of water sitting inside of it still. And with the bottom of the pool, you have a significant amount of decontaminating or material that's just decomposing. So that's going to be sitting there, and I don't know if you're going to be cleaning that out of the pool or what we're
we've
going to be
been-
doing, but also notify us when you're going to be dumping water down, because it's going down the drain as it is currently. A lot of residents wake up and we don't know what's going on. We see it, and that's a problem, because that we were aware that the water was contaminated. So,
The water is being filtered before it releases, as we've been told, and the spa is being dealt with accordingly, and then also the remnants in the pool will be addressed.
Okay.
So it's my understanding that the water be removed completely by tomorrow afternoon, and the next phase of the process will undergo. So that'll take some drying out to do, but that'll be done over the process of the next week. But the owner or the people are making significant progress, which is what we were interested in pursuing.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Well, with the council's concurrence, we will delete this item, if that's your pleasure.
I'd like to move that we continue this item till next month, just to make sure that everything's taken care of to the city's satisfaction.
I'll second that.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? If not, please call.
Well, can this item, I have a question, can this item be continued? Because this is a notice of declaring it. It's not actually declaring it, it's just a notice.
Sure, so the notice is just an agenda item. Any agenda item can be continued, so that's not a problem. So yes, it could be
Or
continued.
we can just renotice them again and
yeah,
put
we
it on
can.
the agenda, which would be.
Well, we don't even, I don't think we even did any notice for this because this is just authorization
Right.
to send a notice.
Correct.
So,
Oh, sorry.
It appears to be cleaner, though, if we continue to do it instead of continuing this.
Well,
If
if there-
it
if there-
doesn't work, wouldn't it be cleaner to put it back on the agenda once, they're doing the job, from what I understand. They're doing what we told them to do. So if we notify our residents with a legal notice and we tell them what they need to do and they are doing it,
it's the council's discretion. I mean, if there's any concern that it may not be completed and we want to keep this in process, it can be continued to the next meeting. Obviously, if things weren't being done, staff would put it on the next meeting, most likely
Regardless,
anyway.
anyway.
But there's no issue continuing it if that be the council's discretion.
one of the
Policies.
items I also want to address here is, in the past, we have not put the address down, the physical address of the residents when we wanted to do this. We put the parcel number. And I believe we need to be consistent with that, and put the parcel number. I said, your public humiliation to pick and choose who we want to put the physical address on, I don't think it's something that we want to get into. We didn't do it on the last few. Why we've done it on these two, I don't know, but we need to make sure that we're consistent. If we're gonna put the address down, we have to do it on everybody, whether they're our neighbors or our friends, or the parcel number, which is what Villa Park has historically done. So it could be just because we have a change in management that it's gone like this, but I'd like to bring that to the council's attention, that we had not put the address down, but the parcel number, and certainly if the residents want to know exactly where the address is, they look it up, or we know which ones have complained about, so.
I disagree with you, Councilwoman Fasenelli. First meeting I came to in December 2014, we had the same kind of resolution for public nuisance for 10291 Camden Circle, Villa Park. There was no, the address was clearly stated there. And that's the only one I recall that since I've been on the council.
And that home had been on twice before without an address. It had been on.
But no, but this is the last one that we had.
Well, that
And
would be yours. I've been on here longer than both you, and we've had just, so it's up for discussion.
But
If you
no,
wanna-
we
if you wanna
did, we
put the
did,
address
we
on,
did
that's
not,
okay.
we did not just have that. On this one, we had the address. Both on the notice to the
In the
hearing
past, we
and for the
have it.
hearing.
I'm saying that if we want to continue that way, I have no problem. I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing it up. If you want to put the address down, I don't have a problem with that, as long as we're consistent.
Well, as you always indicate, for full transparency, I think we should always give the address so the public know what property we're talking about. If there's a property they're concerned with, they want to know if we're taking action on it. Just to put down the assessor's number, a parcel number, doesn't tell anyone anything. So I'm for putting the address down. And in my experience, that's what we've done in the past.
In your experience, have you gone back to the, have you gone
No, I
back
didn't, I
past
went,
to when you were not
I
on
went, I
council?
went back to the last one, and I assumed the last one was what our procedure is.
And then from now on, we'll have the physical address.
As far as I'm concerned, we should have the physical address. I don't know what the others think. What do you think?
I brought it up for discussion.
Especially in an early process like this, I'm not sure it serves a purpose to have addresses on there. Maybe later on when we offer them full notice and that type of thing, but I'm not one to, create a lot of issue for the homeowner, if we can help it.
Right.
We have a motion on the floor, so.
But I just want to get a sense of what you think about having the address on here before we go to the motion.
Sounds like that's the policy. That was the last.
Councilman Rossini?
I don't have a problem with it. If you want to abide by the municipal code and be a good neighbor, you don't have anything to worry about.
Is there
Okay.
a policy written about this?
I do not believe there's a written policy at this point. It's the prerogative of the council.
Okay.
So we'll take direction from the council.
Yeah, you just have to give identification of the property, and you can do that either via street address or APN under the law, it doesn't matter. And I don't know I can't remember what we've done in the past.
I do, because we had quite a few in the last 4 years. The last one may have had the address, but I specifically remember some long-term residents that have been very involved in the community that we didn't list the address on. So I just want to make sure that we're consistent, that if we're going to list addresses, that they have to be listed, whether they're our neighbors or our friends or people that we don't know, because I don't want to pick and choose whose address is on them.
Matt, you were going to say something.
No, no, I didn't. It was, all I was gonna say that was that the resident did receive 2 notifications. In between, I sent the first letter, a few days after we inspected the home. This is when Don was still A&M, and, sent the first letter, and then he was very cooperative. The homeowner was very cooperative, and, we walked through the steps, and as a matter of procedure, I sent a second letter, even though he was being very cooperative. And after that, there didn't seem to be really any need, because he had followed through and had a landscaping group come through and take care of the messiness outside. And then we had the pool today, so frankly, there's no code. It doesn't seem like there's any code violation left. We'll double check again after that. But for now, there didn't seem to be any reason to bring this back.
Thank you.
So right now, it appears to be no code violation as of today.
Correct.
Correct.
I corrected the 2 major ones.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Roll call, please, Steve.
I apologize, who made the motion second?
The
Second.
motion second was to
Continue.
table this
Continue.
to the next meeting.
So Mayor Pro Tem Colacott,
Yes.
Councilman Rossini,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fosnelli,
No.
Councilman Pitts,
Yes.
and Mayor Nelson.
Yes.
I believe it passes on a 4-1 vote.
I would suggest we only bring it back if there's still an
Right.
issue. There would no need to bring it back if there's no issue.
Concur.
But that's not what the motion was.
The motion at this point is to continue it and to bring it back. We will put it on the agenda at this point unless otherwise so directed by the council. At this point, it will appear in the council agenda as a continued item. So to remove it, we would have to have a vote to remove it
It's
from
fine
the
to have
item.
it come back and just give us an update. If everything's gone well, we'll just hear about it and it'll be over.
If anything, it gives the residents, and there are quite a few that are unhappy about this property, peace of mind that we're paying attention to their concerns, the community's concerns as far as mosquito abatement, and that this is not being swept under the rug because it's a friend of a friend, because they belong to this organization for a number of years. That's not the Villa Park that we want to represent. We want to represent everybody, and by keeping it on the agenda, I think that we're letting everybody know we're keeping an eye on this property. As long as they're good neighbors, as long as they abide by the municipal code, they have nothing to be concerned about, nor does anybody else.
I think that's wonderful, but when we have a code enforcement officer who told us that the items that were not enforced have been corrected, what are we accomplishing?
They're corrected for now, but
For now, well, that's what you deal with. It's for now. They were corrected. They can only correct what we tell them to correct. If there's more, then we should have given them more.
Have they been fully corrected, or are they in process?
For the record, they are in process. There is a firm that is actually draining it as we speak.
So it's not completed at this point?
It probably will not be till tomorrow at some point. It takes about a 24-hour process to fully get all the water out of the pool and the spa.
thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item. Our next hearing is consideration of resolution number 2017-3383, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Villa Park declaring its intent to conduct a public hearing regarding conditions present at 18282 James Road, Villa Park, California, to determine whether such conditions constitute a public nuisance. Go ahead to staff report.
We have Bill Tarrin here, who's probably the most familiar with this issue. He's been dealing with it for some time, and this is a different story than the last where we have some movement, but we do not have what we would call full compliance. So we would ask for an action by the council today, and Bill can fill in the details should you be interested.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Council members, Mayor, thank you for your time. This project started with a stop work order in July of last year. It was a battle for me to obtain the permit for 2 months. In September, a permit was finally issued to a contractor. And thereafter, the work progressed typically for one of our projects in Villa Park. Had a couple of errors here and there, tried to keep them on track. They kept moving through January of this year. And on or about March, I hadn't seen any work going on the property. The 1st of March, it started looking pretty bad. I started getting complaints from the community. So I looked into the project, tried to contact the contractor. Didn't know who the owner was. I didn't have a phone number for the owner. I knew a name, so I started researching the property owner and found them, tried to communicate with them. It took time to get them to get back to me. Ever since then, which was about March 1st, I've been given nothing but lies and misinformation from the property owner. He keeps telling me that, oh, I have a contractor coming in, the last contractor stole my work, he's not being cooperative with me. So I contacted the contractor. Contractor tells me the owner's not paying me, that's why I left. So the contractor tells me he's filed a notice with Contractors License Board to try to get his money for the project. So I have to believe the contractor's the person that is giving me the truth. So the complaints I was getting were not only the property was a mess, but there was a dumpster full of trash in the street. It was there for about 3 weeks. There was 6 pallets of sod, dead sod, for at least 3 weeks in the street. We're not going to move this as much as I would like to, but we can't. So again, I tried to contact the owner, contractor with their problems. This is why we're here. There's a little bit of progress on the job site where the sod has been removed, the dumpster has been removed, but the property is still a mess. I'm stuck. I can't do any more. Code enforcement can't do any more with the Villa Park laws until we declare this property a public nuisance. That's where we are today.
Council members, do you have any questions of staff?
Bill, I gather that they started construction without a permit.
That's correct.
For a couple of months.
Yes, sir.
And it wasn't just repair work, it was additional work that, like new roof or something that required a
Right.
permit?
It was interior remodeling, kitchen remodeling, adding walls, new electrical panel. Yeah, it was a full-blown, probably good $200,000 worth of work.
Uh-huh. Were we able to get permits for all the work that had been
Yes.
done?
Yes, sir.
And-
Yes, the contractor complied with the rules for applying for a permit.
Okay.
All the work was, up to the 1st of March, was to code.
Is this, do you know if this is a flip, or what's the story on that?
I'm sure it is. Yes.
The owner live around here?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Any other questions from the council? Is anyone here to speak on this item? If so, please step to the podium. Seeing no one, council members, is there any discussion?
I'd like to move the recommendation.
Second.
Been moved and second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott,
Yes.
Councilman Rossini,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fascinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Pitts,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes.
Passes 5-0. So it'll be agendized as a public hearing on the 25th of April.
Our next hearing is consideration adoption of ordinance number 2017-605, readopting portion of the Villa Park Municipal Code and reauthorize collection of fee to support public education and governmental channel facilities within the city's jurisdiction. Staff report, please.
I'm going to defer to Todd here.
Right, before I get into that, just to back up, because I know some of you were looking why we're doing this. As to item number 1 under public hearings, where we're waiving reading in full of ordinances and resolutions, there's this 100-year-old archaic California law that says you have to read the entirety of an ordinance. And, I mean, this telecommunication ordinance, it's about telecommunications, so it's incredibly boring. So in order to not read the whole thing, we have to do the first thing. Now, in most cities, they have the consent calendar first, so the waiver is just part of the consent calendar, so you never have to actually do it specifically. Here, because we do public hearings first, that's why we had to approve that, just so you understand that. So, as to the case at hand, back in the day, cable companies used to have to come to cities in order to get a franchise to operate. And each city would have a separate franchise agreement with the cities. The cable companies got sick of that, so they went to the state and they got a law passed called DIVCA, in which the state grants one overall franchise for the whole state, so they can just get their state franchise and then they don't have to negotiate with the cities anymore. Within the state franchise, there is a specified fee called a PEG fee, which is Public Education Government Channel, of 1%, because under federal law, federal telecommunications law, cities are allowed to charge that to cable providers. There is a provision in the law, which nobody really knows what it means, that says once the franchises expire, the city is supposed to reauthorize the approval of the franchise. So this franchise was approved with AT&T, UVerse, 10 years ago. It's up for expiration at the end of this month. So the city has to take some action to reauthorize our approval of the state franchise. So what we city attorney types have been doing is readopting the ordinance which accepted the state franchise in the first place. So that's what's in front of you. There's actually two separate, I actually learned this, I only thought we had Time Warner Spectrum, but we also have AT&T UVerse, from which we get funds from. And we put this on this agenda, and it's an emergency ordinance. It goes into effect immediately because otherwise the franchise could technically expire at the end of the month. So what's in front of you is an ordinance reauthorizing the city's acceptance of the state cable franchise so that we continue unabated to get the fees that we get from these two entities. The one question people often ask is, well, what about other types of TV providers? This doesn't apply to DirecTV because that's satellite and not cable. It only applies to the two listed in the agenda. And that is all.
Council members, any questions of staff? In here?
No question.
No questions? Is anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this issue? Please come forward. Not seeing anyone, we'll bring it back to the council. Any discussion? No discussion, do we have a motion?
I'll recommend adoption of the ordinance as recommended by staff.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and second. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott?
Yes?
Councilman Pitts?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fosnelli?
Yes.
Councilman Rossini?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Now we'll consider the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are considered routine and usually enacted by one motion approving the recommended action listed on the agenda. Any member of the city council, staff, or the public may request items to be removed from the consent calendar for discussion or separate action. Council members, any items you'd like removed from the consent calendar?
I would like to remove 5, 8, and 9.
5, 8, and 9. From the public, is anyone from the public would like to move anything? Any other council members like to remove anything? If not, I have agenda items 5, 8, 9 pulled from consent calendar. Can I have a motion to approve the balance of the items?
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Steve, can I have the roll call?
Councilman Rossini,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasenelli,
Yes.
Councilman Pitts,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes.
So 6 and 7 are approved.
Now,
5-0.
we'll take up the other items that were pulled.
Okay. I just have a couple questions on the warrant warrants that we have here. There's an item for Gruber and Associates, which is our accountants. There's a $5,000 payment for that. Can you tell us what that $5,000 payment was for during this time?
That's for, I believe it was Councilman Barnett and Mayor Nelson requesting a internal control review.
Okay.
And that is, we are scheduling a Budget and Finance Committee to review. We have the final draft of that. So it was payment for the services they provided for the internal control.
So are we in possession of the final draft right now?
Yes.
Okay. Can that be forwarded to council, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to have a meeting with Budget and Finance, but I'll send that, what we have to
Please
you.
send that over
Absolutely.
to, I think that would be important that it came to all council to be able to review that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Okay. And with that, I move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Then moved in second. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Fasenelli,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott,
Yes.
Councilman Pitts,
Yes.
Councilman Rossini,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Next, we'll take up item number 8.
Item number 8, I went up to Sacramento about 2 weeks ago, and it was an advocacy trip where we sat in the Capitol and had senators and controllers and treasurers do a rotating seminar for us about every 35 minutes, coming in and giving us some sort of an update on what was going on in Sacramento. And it was a great 48 hours to listen to the different perspectives from depending on what side of the political spectrum that they were on. You know, you hear the same thing, but the message was different each time. But what came through by the time we got to about the 8th senator was something that was different. And what it was there was an item that is running through the House right now stating that our housing element that we have, even though we have complied with the state and it should be approved shortly, if we designate certain areas to be low income, which we're supposed to, it would mandate that we make them low income. Well, right now, all we have to do is designate them in case it's ever needed. And this mandates it. It's a very serious bill, certainly for the city of Villa Park, because we don't have any place to put any sort of low-income housing, but we have designated spots for it. But at this point, we would actually have to do it. They don't care how you do it. They don't care how you do it. So this came through there. When I came home, the League of California Cities sent us also an alert that said this needed to be opposed. So I brought this to Steve Frank's attention, wanted the council to go full force at this point, certainly to give them our word that this is not what we want. We want local control. We've done what you've said we're to do. We have identified properties that if it became a necessity, that we could add some sort of low-income housing. But don't mandate to us that we're going to make, certain areas low-income housing in a city that is 99% built. So that's what, in plain language, that's what this is doing. It's asking for the council to oppose this.
Okay. Do I have a motion on number?
I make the motion. I think we might have, if we have public comment, but I make the motion.
Yeah.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Fasenelli?
Yes.
Councilman Rossini?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott?
Yes.
Councilman Pitts?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes.
This passes 5-0.
Next, we have item number 9.
Okay. I pulled this this is such an important item right now in our city, and just wanted to get kind of a little bit of a verbal update so the public can understand what's going on. When I did read it, I'm glad to see that when I did suggest that we go to the Joint Powers Authority and ask them, if they're going to cover us in any particular way. And I know the first answer I got was no from staff and from the interim city manager, and it appears now that that's changed. We've had Joint Power Authority come out. We don't know what they're going to cover, but they have come out, they've done an audit, there's 3 or 4 of us. But if you can just give us an update about where we're at, certainly around the legal premise of not disclosing what we can't disclose.
Sure, there are a couple things that are very public, and a claim has been filed, and we are working through that process.
Okay.
I will also say on March 16th, President Trump approved the California Disasters Declaration, which is basically the declaration of emergency that we were included in, which makes us potentially eligible for reimbursement, 75% of the repair of the damage. So we are, both Akram, Michelle and myself are meeting, and there's a very cumbersome process that OES and FEMA have. It'll be a full-time job for us to work through it, but we have started that process, and it's a very much a regimented clockwork process as far as paperwork being filed, et cetera. We have filed our initial intent for the claim, so that had to be due on the 11th. So we've already filed that, and they have acknowledged receipt. So we are in good standing with respect to timing. Declarations have been filed, et cetera. We are in the process at this point. We'll be taking the next step of I'll be meeting with some of the public works people with OC Flood, and we'll start talking about next steps. There will be a kickoff meeting from FEMA, and that will be within the next probably 2 weeks, I'm expecting.
Right.
At that point, it's very prescriptive. It's not something we can do and ask for reimbursement. They tell us how we can do it, including down to the procurement process and the agreements that are in place, that have to be in place prior to taking action. So we are very much trying to follow the letter of law, dot our I's and cross our T's. At this point, we are very optimistic that there will be a significant amount of funding from federal and state monies to support the repair and potentially the insurance claim as well. So we'll keep you updated, and I think that's sort of a generic where we stand at this point.
To make it simple, can we start to fix this? Or do we have to wait?
No,
FEMA makes us wait.
We need to wait until they tell us the process by which we can even secure or go out to bid. It's very prescriptive about what we do. In fact, we have been scrambling, and we sat through a very long, Michelle sat through several briefings, but Akram and myself had long hours worth of briefings, and we'll know more as the kickoff meeting happens in the next couple weeks, and we'll keep you apprised of it. We will agendize this on a monthly basis, so we do keep you abreast of what's going on.
Thank you. With that explanation, I move it.
I want to see if any other council members have questions.
I'd like to add just one thing to that. The kickoff meeting, once, he's talking, it's very prescriptive, there's a lot of deadlines, but once the kickoff meeting happens, it'll be FEMA, OES, everybody in our crew, potentially the county, and then
It will be actually all those that are claiming, so it'll be a very large body.
Right, and then we'll have a subcommittee, committee meeting, and once we have that meeting, we have 60 days to get all of our requests in, and they call them LOPs, list of projects, and we can have multiple ones. We will be requesting other damage, not just the Henderson property. There's a couple other storm issues that, have occurred that potentially have reimbursement that we can use.
What are those?
What?
What are those? I'm not aware.
Well, one, just storm related between the January 18th, the January 23rd, that window of time. That's what we have declared for. That's the 4305 incident. And our trails, the DG's all gone. So that's something that the rain, was caused by that incident. That is potentially a reimbursable claim. Also, we had trees, city trees that, so there's certain things, there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through and you have to present it properly. But we have 60 days to state all our LOPs, and we have the OES team working with us, but that's like once we have that kickoff meeting, it's game on, so.
Any more questions, staff?
Steve, Michelle, somebody, do we have to have bids in hand before we start the FEMA process?
No, the FEMA process, we have to list our projects, and that's what she's calling the LOP, a list of projects. That does not, we'll hear from FEMA how they're going to let us do the bidding and what they're going to let us do. So we don't have bids at this point. We'll hear from them. The kickoff meeting is sort of the rules of the game, if you will.
Okay.
And that's what we don't have in hand, and it's not printed in advance. We sort of have to go and hear what they have to say.
Right.
So we don't have bids in hand at that point. We have to know the potential projects we
Right.
want to deal with, and that's
Okay,
what she's talking about. And that's what we are gathering at this point, because we want to make sure that the city is fully reimbursed and we're fully protected in all assets, including our own staff time, anything that we might have spent along the way. We want to make sure that we have included in those projects.
And does funding come, how do I ask this next question? Do we have to front any monies?
Yes.
And
There
then
is-
reimbursed by FEMA? Is that the way it works? Okay.
It is unless there is an extraordinary circumstance, which I don't believe will probably qualify for. There is some situations, as you read, that they will
Yes.
allow it,
Yes.
but that's under special circumstance, and that does not appear to be something that applies for us at this point.
And because of the massive, all the damage in California, so many, I mean, right now there's 3 different incidents that they're talking about. There's the beginning of January, there's a window, there's the end of January, and then there's a February one. So they're, the whole state, and then they have the Orville Dam, you know, there's a lot of things going on in California right now. So when you ask for a reimbursement, they're like, it's 45, 60 days, you know, so we will be fronting the money.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Anyone from the public want to speak on this? Come right on up.
Sounds like this effort's a tremendous burden on staff. And it sounds like the state will reimburse for expenses of staff to complete the project. Would you consider authorizing, finding a resource you could hire to assist with the project?
That's actually one of the recommendations that they give us is that contracting out is, it's 100% reimbursable. So there's certain aspects of the reporting that we can.
Right,
we
there's
can
certain
contract out.
aspects that are reimbursable under contract and certain things that
Absolutely.
are not. So we are exploring that. That's one of the things we're exploring with, candidly, with some of the other entities as well, because there's a lot of damage that's being addressed in this whole claim. So we're trying to be as inclusive as possible, but also we have staff that are just running daily operations. So our focus is going to be trying to have as much support and reimbursable support as we can get.
Any additional public comment? If not, in discussion with the council? Do I have a motion for this one then?
I had made the motion, yes.
There's a second?
Second.
Been moved and second. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Fasenelli?
Yes.
Councilman Rossini?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott?
Yes.
Councilman Pitts?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, that concludes our consent calendar. Our first item of new business is a proposed city policy on the use of personal email accounts and personal electronic devices for city-related matters. Staff report, please, Steve.
Okay, this stems from the recent March 2nd California Supreme Court decision with the City of San Jose and Superior Court. When that came out, there was a multitude of actions up and down the states, and we leaned on counsel to interpret what that means for us and what the recommendation. So Todd will go into a little bit of detail what's going on here, and so that staff recommendation is in following.
So, California public records are governed by a body of law called the California Public Records Act. Basically, any document that the city has, subject to very enumerated exceptions, i.e.
Sorry, I'm not sure what you said.
Well, I'll try to make it clear. I get that a lot. I've never had that happen. That's very good. That's very good. That was intentional, I know. I'm gonna find out. So, as I was saying, Surrey, this case stems from a fact situation in San Jose. In San Jose, there was a big development project. A project opponent thought that council members were texting back and forth about what they were going to do about the project, submitted a Public Records Act request for any personal emails and texts about the project that were on the council members' private devices. The city said, no, that's not a public record. Historically, the majority legal opinion has been, unless a city actually controls the document, it's not a public record because the city has no means to be able to control it and then give it to the public. It went up to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal said, that's right, it's not a public record. Went to the California Supreme Court. California Supreme Court said, we're changing the law, now it is a public record. So in essence, what the court said was, if you are conducting public business, and public business concerns various things as outlined in the staff report. And if you're doing that on either a public email account or via a text or via a personal device, that will be a public record. And if there's a public record submitted to the city, that should be turned over and then given to the public. That's basically what the case says. Now, the court recognized that this creates various hurdles for city staff, right? Because we don't have control of your texts. We have no way to get them unless we kindly ask you and you give them to us. So the court recommended a couple of options as to how to facilitate compliance with the court's new rule. And one of the things the court said is, well, the city could adopt a policy telling everybody, don't use private email, don't use text, don't conduct public business on private accounts. And with the adoption of that policy, there is a presumption that you aren't doing that, that you're not violating the policy, and we can just provide people the information that we have. So the policy in front of you is an attempt to comply with the Supreme Court's directive, put something in place that tells council, staff, everybody, don't conduct public business on private accounts. Therefore, when somebody does submit a Public Records Act request, we don't have to come to everybody and badger them and check everybody's phones to see if there's any public records on them. We can just point to the policy saying, we don't do that, and we will give what we have. So that is the theory behind this policy, why it's in front of you. It was something that was a suggested procedure by the California Supreme Court, and I would recommend that you adopt the policy.
Any questions for staff?
I have some discussion. I think it's very understandable what they want.
Apparently not to Surrey.
Well, not to Surrey. And you know, already there are people who, in certain cities already, who have filed public record requests on a councilman's phones. And usually they're in places where you've got development and stuff. So it's going to happen. The reality is, we can't be council people without our cell phones because this is how people get a hold of it. That's how they get a hold of me. And I mean, everything I get, I eventually talk about it with Steve Franks and stuff, but quite frankly, if there's a public record request, it's gonna cost the city, thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to determine whether I turned over the right documents or not, because in all honesty, I will tell you I turned over the right documents, but are you gonna believe me? You're gonna wanna see the phone. The only way I could see being able to continue and offer the value that we offer to our constituents is to have a separate cell phone. And that cell phone is a city cell phone. It's a city designated number. The phone is yours. You give it to us. We give it back to you when our term is over. And if the residents call me on my personal phone, I say, thank you very much. Let me give you my city cell phone number, and please call me on that one. And the records are there from any phone call or any texts or any emails. Now, the emails, it's kind of easy because we do have email accounts now. My recommendation, I think this is wonderful, but this big word in big bold that says prohibited from using personal accounts and or devices, pretty much just, I'm dead in the water from a city council standpoint, because for me to be able to talk to any constituents means I need to come in this office and sit down. And that's that can't happen. We're all we're working people. So I'm bringing this up that, Steve, I know you came to work here and you on your own purchased a second phone, because this came just as you started. Yes. You have your own personal cell phone, which I don't even know the number. We have a city cell phone number. And that's what we conduct business on, but I don't have that luxury. And to protect me and the city, I need that too. I don't want to carry two phones, but I cannot serve this community anymore calling from my own phone. If they call me at home, I would have to say, hey, guess what? Let me call you from the cell phone, so there's a record, whoever it might be. So I bring this, up for discussion.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is that
where we are now, I want to know if there's any questions you have of staff. We can have discussion later after we have public input. Is there any questions for staff?
yes, texting is part of this overall ruling. So if I use my cell phone to text, Councilman Fasenelli, that's part of the public record. So even for us to communicate within the confines of the Brown Act, by texting or on our cell phones.
Right.
So the only way we can really do that, which is, texting is a primary mode of communication nowadays. We can't use our own cell phone, so we, like Deanna suggests, we probably should have a city cell phone.
So now, one option, but probably the safest option, is to have separate cell phones. A lot of people are doing that. It's not necessarily required, and I am now, I'm a bit of a Luddite. I only started really texting about a year ago. I swear to God, anyway. You could have, you can still have your private device as long as you use a city email. It's all about whether it's captured by the city's server, right? I am told by IT people in bigger cities there are apps, so somebody under 30 would have to tell me what that means, that differentiates texts, and you can put texts into different folders, a city folder that the city would control, and then a personal phone. So there are ways to, only have to carry one phone, as long as all that communication somehow gets routed to the city, and I'm told there's ways to do that. So
That's a going out, though, not a coming in. So when the resident when it comes into you, it's coming to your personal phone.
then you would have to transfer it to
I have
this
to,
phone.
which is what I did for the last week. I've been copying and pasting and emailing it to the city for their records, which is just very cumbersome.
Right. As to like a log of people who calls you, there's actually when Governor Brown was governor the first time, actually phone numbers of people who call you, that's exempt from the Public Records Act because it's part of your communications with constituents. But so there are various technological options to deal with this. One of them clearly being probably the safest way to have separate phones, but I mean, that has a cost, right? And really, that's a bit of a policy decision.
Any other questions from council? If there is any public comment on this item? Not, I bring it back to the council for discussion.
Deanna, if you want to make a
I'll
motion, I'll
entertain-
second it.
We can have discussion afterwards. I make a motion that the council be provided with a separate cell phone paid for by the city. It has to, with whatever, it's bells and whistles, it's data plans, what have you. And that's where we're at. It's an expense that has to be, feel that it has to be borne by the city if you want us to continue to serve the public as council people and to protect ourselves and to be as transparent as we can. I don't personally want to have two phones, but I also can't spend every day copying and pasting and emailing the city manager for texts that are coming through because I don't want that burden. So my motion is that the council be supplied with phones with the plans, and they are borne by the city, and when our term is up, if we don't come back, we turn it back to you.
I would ask that you also adopt the policy because the reason for the separate phone would be adoption of the policy. So we'd also want to make sure that we
Okay.
don't use private devices.
Okay.
So we'd adopt the policy, and then you would, as a second part of that motion, make the motion that the city provide phones, if that makes sense.
Let me restate my motion. My motion is to adopt the policy as it's written, and with that, to be able to comply with that policy, that the city provide the council with cell phones that are paid for by the city and owned by the city.
And I'll second that, and the cell phone will have the same data capabilities of our private phones, be able to text and email and so forth, and maintain our contact with the city and with our constituents.
I would assume, is the city manager involved with that process as well?
I would, yes. Well, you get a phone allowance, but I'm not sure if it's adequate or not, but that's
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood the question.
Are you subject to the same thing? Then I would assume you would be subject to the same policy and also
Well,
the
it's-
same.
It's up to what you would like to have as the policy. The council it's a policy decision, what you want to set.
Okay,
It is a policy.
let me re-say it one more time then, that the city, we adopt the policy and that the city purchase cell phones for the city manager and the
Yes.
city council, and any staff member that the city manager feels needs a separate city phone to be able to comply with the policy that's been adopted.
Second.
I'm going to make a substitute motion that we just adopt a policy, because if you have cell phones, everyone in the city should have a cell phone, because all of them are doing city business. So why would we do that? You can communicate simply by using your city email addresses. If anyone calls you up, tell them to email you. That's all you have to do.
Well, that's difficult to do sometimes because people want an opportunity to talk to you, and they're also texting. I get phone calls, I've gotten text. I get phone calls at my home. We want to make it convenient for everybody and not make it too cumbersome for folks. It'd be bad enough we carry 2 cell phones. I hate that. That's why I don't carry. I mean, I have my personal email, my work email, all of that stuff on one device because I'm that way. But I also don't want to cause a problem.
Well, I'm with you. That's what I do. I don't want to carry 2 devices. I don't want another device. And if you do this, why wouldn't you get it for all the city members, for everyone? Because everyone does city business here. They're not immune to the Records Act.
Yeah, but I think the distinction is that we're involved in making policy decisions and the city managers.
It doesn't matter whether you're making policy.
Mike can make calls to, to City Hall and get guidance from Steve, and I don't think that's a policy issue, and so forth.
I'll ask council, does the Public Records Act just refer to policy, or does it refer to any city business?
Any city business.
Right, so any member of the staff is doing city business and subject to the Records Act. So if you're gonna get cell phones for the city council, why not get cell phones for everyone?
That my motion included that. It included the city manager and any employee that the city manager deemed did city business on their phone. It did include that. But I leave the decision of the staffing and the electronics to the city manager. That's not for us to, the secretary may not need it, but the Public Works Department would need it. So I left that up to the city manager's discretion.
And just, Mayor, with your indulgence, as a point of clarification, Michelle and I were talking, I can't remember if we have something in our city council policy or administrative policies as to cell phone reimbursements. So that may necessitate coming back at the next meeting to amend a prior policy about cell phones.
Sure, and
we would
my
do
motion
that.
doesn't include a reimbursement. It includes actually the city purchasing it, giving it to us, and paying the bill.
No, I understand
Yeah.
that, but that may be contrary to an existing policy.
We'll
So
have to
just to
compare.
clean it up,
Okay,
we
yeah.
would.
Great, and
I just can't remember.
If we have to- Well, we have a substitute motion from Bill.
Yes, did I get a second? Okay, so it fails for not having a second, so we'll go back to the original motion. Roll call?
Councilwoman Fasenelli,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Colacott,
Yes.
Councilman Pitts,
Yes.
Councilman Rossini,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
No.
Item passes 4-1.
Steve, with that policy, I would like for you to give all of the advisory committee city email addresses so they can do business that way. I don't think they need phones as well, but at least they should have city email addresses.
Actually, that's a wonderful suggestion. That was something that Jared was working on 2 years ago, was to give the foundation members, they were also supposed to have their own email addresses. It was supposed to be, for all of the committees, so that way that everything was transparent. So with that, I would actually look at the committees, and that should be
Yeah.
that way, all the way through, not just one committee. So that's.
No, I said all the committees.
yeah, he said.
Yeah, all advisory committees.
Yeah.
But that brings up questions. The Villa Park Foundation, would they be considered city business, subject to the Records Act?
They're a separate entity, I think.
Yeah, they're a separate
501c3.
they're a separate corporate entity. I'm trying to remember their bylaws, whether there's something in there about compliance with the Public Records Act, but you would have to work through them, not through us.
Oh, okay.
Because they're subject to the Brown Act.
So
right?
they-
There's a number of legal requirements because they are a city-affiliated nonprofit that are imposed upon them. I just can't remember what the process would be for public records on them.
Yeah. The process is we served the city, because I know because I did. We served the city and we served the foundation.
Well, the city has a right to all of the documents.
Right, and when
because
they
we
did
are
it
the
for Ryder,
members of
we
the.
served both, yeah. Yeah, we did serve it upon them, because the address is here.
All right.
Fortunate, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Now we'll discuss the city manager's report.
Okay, thank you. I'm just entering my third week on the job, and I appreciate the welcome of all of you. It feels like a lot longer than 3 weeks. I am looking forward to working with the council. I will be bringing forth over the next several months some initiatives that we've talked about, so you can expect it. The first of that being on April 25th. I wanted to advise you that we will be scheduling a work session with the regular council meeting for the storm drain master plan. So we will have the consultants here and we will discuss the draft and get you an advance copy, but that will be coming forth and we'll discuss that. The second thing we'll be doing is on the 25th, we'll be having we're working with the sheriff to have a comprehensive report on the crime statistics in Villa Park for a longer term. That's one of the council members requested. We'll bring that forward. It's an annual report that I know the sheriff has done in other entities, so we'll be doing that. And Lieutenant Puckett will be here for that meeting and make that presentation. I also wanted to indicate that on April 25th, unfortunately, last Friday, our boys' high school team lost to Mission High School, 82-75 in overtime and significant effort. But we will be recognizing, Dr. Miller and I talked, and we'll be having the full team, the basketball team. So wear your high heels and your step shoes because they're very tall boys. They had an outstanding season, and unfortunately fell just a little bit short. But it's a tremendous accomplishment to get to the state finalists. They beat 4 section finalists to get there. So they are the Southern California champions and the second runner-up to state. So we'll be recognizing them at the April 25th meeting. So that's all I have to report. Thank you again for allowing me the opportunity.
Well, thank you for those informative reports. Now's the time for individual councilmen's discussion. We'll start with Councilmember Rossini. You have reports or comments to share?
Yeah, I would just like to share a little bit of experience I had at Taste of Villa Park and support of Villa Park Little League. I had the opportunity to attend, and I purchased a ticket. I'm sure I could have taken their invitation and just gone in pro bono, but as an invited dignitary. But I felt so strongly, and I feel so. I feel that Villa Park Little League is such an essential part of our community that I wanted to make sure that I supported them financially, and it's just wonderful to see the condition of the fields, the organization come together, the members of the community, both in Orange as well as Villa Park, and the parents and the corporate sponsors get together and put on such an amazing event. I got to see the remainder of the council there, and that was a tremendous opportunity. Unfortunately, I had to leave and attended another event, but the time that I was there, it was just a tremendous event, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be there and support them.
Councilman Colacott?
Yes, on March 4th, as I mentioned earlier in the meeting, I attended the Americana Awards by the Cypress College Community Foundation, and was able to be with our resident Catherine Sorensen when she was presented the Woman of the Year Award, and that was quite an event. Let's see, and then on and then on March 23rd, with a couple of our other councilmen and Councilwoman Fasenelli and Pitts and Nelson and I attended the Medal of Valor program at the Anaheim Hilton, where the outstanding sheriff's members and received their awards for valor and other achievements. It was a pretty large, impressive program as well.
Councilmember Pitts?
Well, last Friday, I had the pleasure of meeting with the Republic Services team in Anaheim who do our trash collection. I'll tell you, it was an eye-opening experience for me. It was very educational. I had a blast. I spent two hours with them. They did a tour for me, helped me understand how they do trash sorting. I mean, it's very scientific the way they approach, trash and waste and things like that. I was extremely impressed the way they did it. We sat through some various educational videos, and I did learn one thing, that I wasn't recycling correctly. And now I understand the proper way to do that. And if any of you out there are putting your recycles, my wife knows the difference, but I didn't. But any of you out there putting your recycles in a bag and then putting in the receptacle, that's a no-no. Because it just causes them to do more work, and it causes more cost for them, because they have to take the recycles out of the bag, separate the bag from the recycles, even though they go through the separation process with the recycles themselves. So don't bag them. Just dump them in the can, and they'll come and pick them up. So I learned something new.
Interesting.
I also, and Vince, by the way, I told them that you were a new council member and that you may want to attend and do the same
I
thing
will
if
be
you haven't
attending.
already done it.
And take Colin with.
I'll take the little guy with me.
But they're amazing people, and you know what was really cool and was heartwarming for me was the superintendent there that took me on the tour, the chief executive officer that took me on the tour. He waved at every one of his employees. I mean, we were in a van, and a truck would go by or a person would walk by, and he'd wave at him. And I told him at the end that was very impressive. That just showed his compassion for the people that work for him. My wife and I also attended the Villa Park Little League event that took place. A group of us were lucky winners of a dinner, so we contributed, I think it was $1,000. The group did to the Little League because they do some great work, as Vince says. But we have that schedule coming up, I think, in June or July, to have a group of us sit down for dinner with Matt and some of the other folks, and I'm really excited about that. Lastly, I had the opportunity to meet with Todd Spitzer for coffee 2 weeks ago. He was kind enough to reach out to schedule some time to chat with me about the county and also about Villa Park and his experiences with Villa Park. It was a great learning experience for me, and I really appreciate the coaching he gave me in terms of how to be a good city councilman, especially for Villa Park. I know he's extremely busy and he's pulled in so many different directions, and I really appreciate, and I was very fortunate to have the time with him. I didn't spend a lot of time with him, but I think he gave me 40, 45 minutes, and I was really excited about that. So I want to thank him for that. I appreciate that. That's it, Bill.
Councilwoman Fasenelli?
Okay, well, Republic had our compost giveaway at the beginning of the month, March 4th. It was very successful. I love the compost giveaway. It's one of the most happiest days here in Villa Park because everybody who comes to get dirt to garden is happy. So I love the 3 hours that I'm there distributing it with them. So that was very good. I also attended the Villa Park Little League annual fundraiser, and that is always fun. Went to the Medal of Valor, which was certainly heartwarming to know what our officers do and the fact that they put their lives on the line every day when we call them. And we certainly do appreciate them. Some announcements that I do have here is that we are having a town hall meeting here on April 11th, Tuesday from 6:30 to 8. The topic is sober living homes, and we're going to have CEO Heather Stratman from the Association of California Cities. We're going to have our Orange County Sheriff's Department here also, and the information will be going out on the website and also on the e-net. We welcome the entire community to come. This is something that is informative. It won't be something that we'll be answering individual questions for individual residents. It'll be more of a global legal and more of a town hall forum. We want people to know what we're doing, what Sacramento's doing to combat a problem that we don't necessarily have in our city, but that we don't want in our city. So we look forward to having a packed room, and that is on April 11th at 6:30. One other item we have here is we have fireworks applications, I believe, that are opened at this point. The firework applications, the way they work is we have historically had 3 stands that want to bring this up because we may not be able to have 3 stands this year because our Taft is being broken up and worked on over the summer. One of the stands typically is on Taft Avenue, and that's something that needs to be considered. The reason it's there is because we really only have 3 locations. and we can have it. But the firework applications are open. They're open to our philanthropies. They're open to nonprofit groups. One of the requirements of being a nonprofit for it, they need to have a majority, I think, 80% of the members have to be residents of Villa Park, and that's something that the city manager certainly will be checking this year to make sure that our nonprofits are all in compliance with the rules that we have, because there's a lot of competition right now with the fireworks. I went up to Sacramento March 13th and 14th for an advocacy trip. It was very busy. The one word that I come back with is marijuana. That is the number one topic in Sacramento, and they don't know what to do with it. It's big, it's so much money, there's no place to put it, there's no banking regulations, there's no they don't know what to do about marijuana. And it's coming, and it's something that they really did want to stress to us, how big it is. Because you have, our city certainly doesn't have it, but our neighboring cities do have them. And there isn't a bank to put all that money in. So I bring that to you. We thought we were going to talk about a lot of other things, and that was the big, huge topic of conversation. The second topic of conversation was sober living homes. So that was the two topics that were the most, that everybody wanted to hear about. When it comes to the school, spring break is April 3rd to April 7th in Orange Unified School District, so I thought I would let everyone know that. It might be a little bit quiet in the areas, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm sorry, I had a couple things I forgot.
Okay, go ahead,
Oh,
go right ahead.
Senior moment. I wanted to remind everybody that the Women's League is having a fundraiser on April the 30th here right outside City Hall. It's from 4 to 8. The theme is international food, wine, and beer. So there'll be wine and beer tasting along with food tasting at the same time. Also, on April the 22nd at our high school, it's National Earth Day, and the Rotary Group is sponsoring electronics recycling. So gather all your recyclable electronics and bring them over to the high school and drop them off. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I have just a couple. I did attend the Little League fundraiser, and I did attend the Sheriff's Medal of Valor at Hilton there, and both were excellent affairs. So with that, I'm going to, is there anything else? Not?
Can I just say one more thing? You're right, I did forget. Prior to me coming to this council meeting, I was honored to attend the transportation parade at Serrano Elementary. There were approximately 95 kindergarten students who made cars, airplanes, boats out of every piece of material you could think of, and they had a transportation parade. I was there with Superintendent Mike Christensen and the principal there, and I have to tell you, we have a great generation of children coming up in Villa Park, so I can't wait to see these guys at the science fair when they turn into high schoolers, because these were just phenomenal little cars, so it was a great event. Thank you.
Anything else? If not, I'm going to adjourn the meeting, and I'm going to adjourn the meeting in the memory of former Villa Park Mayor, Council Member, and dear friend, Rich Freshy. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting to the next regular meeting at April 25th, 2017 at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.